Now, I have 3 harps in front of me. Am I going to adjust myself to play those harps? Absolutely not. I will be adjusting these harps to make them appropriate for me to play in this position. How can I make these harps appropriate for me to play in this position? And why is it important? Well, I'm going to start by demonstrating the harp that's actually set at the right height. And I'm going to push this one out the way just a little bit for just now. Okay, so I'm going to get myself in my comfortable position again. My back is nice and straight. My feet are flat on the floor. I feel nice and relaxed. I don't have tension in my back. I'm not sitting super straight. And then I'm going to bring the harp to me. I'm not going to readjust everything, all the good work I've just put into my body by pulling the harp in and going like this. Okay, and bending myself to the harp. I'm going to keep myself in this nice position and I'm going to bring the harp to me. And by bringing the harp into me, when I reach my hands out at a nice natural angle in the elbow, my hands reach to the middle of the strings. Okay, so I'm just reaching my hands out, nice natural degree in the elbow, and my hands are in the middle of the strings. Okay, and I know that in the middle of the strings I'm going to make the best sound, but also my wrist is in a lovely position to allow all of these muscles and tendons to work my hands in a beautiful, my fingers in a beautiful way. Okay, everything is set up to allow my fingers to work to their optimal working state. Okay, they're really ready to pull in. A few things about the way that I brought my harp to me. If you notice, I've actually got my harp on a slight angle. Okay, it's slightly moved to the side. And I'm actually yes, my harp is very gently resting on the top of my body, but I can move away from my harp and it's not going to come with me because it's also resting on my legs. Okay, if I allow it to just completely rest on my body, then if I move, the harp is going to slip around as I move, and I want to have freedom of movement as I play. So I want to grab it with or let it lean into my legs, and it is very gently leaning on my top as well. So I'm going to show you why you don't want your harp to be too straight on like this. First of all, if I want, my harp's now straight on, if I want to grab it with my knees or my thighs, I have to bring them in, okay? Which is meaning I'm squeezing in all these muscles to grab hold of the harp. And I don't want all of this squeezing, I want it to be relaxed. Again, as soon as I squeeze these muscles, look at my back. I'll show you again. Everything is starting to round off. I don't want it to round off, I want it to be nice and relaxed. So my legs actually have to be further apart. So if I pull my harp in like this and then pull my knees in, I'm creating tension that I don't want. So that's the first reason. Second reason, if my harp is straight on like this, I can't see the strings. And in all likelihood, I'm going to end up doing this, so that I can see. And what's going to happen is my spine is bent. The top of the balance of my body is no longer at the top of my head. It's now kind of on the top of this shoulder. Often people who get shoulder pain here, they're bending their necks to look at their harp, or they're bending their whole body to look at their harp. And the point of balance becomes the shoulder instead of the head. Often it's because they've pulled their harp in too straight and they're adjusting themselves to the harp. Remember, adjust the harp to you. It's about you being comfortable and moving the harp to you. Move the harp to the side. It's naturally on my thigh. I don't feel I have to pull them in to grab it. I can see all the strings very clearly without having to bend my neck or my shoulders. I can see everything beautifully. Nothing here is getting in the way, nothing is uncomfortable, and it all feels good. When I reach my hands out, they're going to the middle of the strings, which is where you want to be playing most of the time to get the rich tone, with a nice gentle bend in my elbow. Let's imagine this was me sitting comfortably. It's a little bit too low for me, but let's imagine that. And my harp comes in like this, okay? Can you see that now the harp is much, much higher? Not only does it feel heavy, because the point of tip is different, it feels heavy on top of me, but when I reach my hands out at this natural angle, look at where my hands reach. Not the middle of the strings, the bottom of the strings. One of two things is going to happen here. One, I'm going to keep my arms at a nice natural angle, I'm going to play at the bottom of the strings, and I'm going to get a tinny sound, because I'm playing what we would call près de la table. Or, to get a nicer sound, I'm going to end up reaching my hands up, and now look at my elbows, and look at my wrists, and look at my fingers. If my hands are reaching up like this, and pulling in like this, I'm not going to get a good range of motion in my fingers to be plucking those strings. I'm actually going to be plucking the strings down, instead of plucking the strings in, or along if you like. Okay? So if the harp is too high and you end up with your hands like this, you're going to be more likely to spread your fingers up higher. If you do go into your harp position, again, everyone talks about pushing the thumbs up. Push my thumbs up. What actually happens is I feel myself going backwards like this. Everything is off balance because the harp is too high. I demonstrated it by lowering my seat, because I don't have a higher harp. But remember, you should make sure you're seated well and then sort your harp out. So what would I do? Smaller legs, no legs, just claw feet, a smaller box, all these different options. How about if my harp was too low? Here we go. Now, not only is it so low that my lumps and bumps are getting in the way now, and it's uncomfortable, but if I reach my hands out at a natural position, they're now right at the top of the strings. Again, not going to get me a nice sound. So, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to stay in a nice natural seated position, and I'm going to get a nasty sound on my harp. Or, I'm going to play like this to get a nice sound. No. So the point of balance in my body has now become the back of my neck. I'm going to become a hunchback. And everything's out of balance as I lurch around my harp. So what am I going to do with this harp? Well, I could get longer legs, or I could build a box out of old MDF, or I could get a harp stand, or I could get a harp pole, any of these things. But what I'm not going to do is lower my seat. I'm definitely not going to lower my seat, because what will happen then is my legs will come up, my bum will roll back, I will slouch, and I'll be playing like this. Okay, so I'm not going to adjust myself and my seat to play this smaller harp. I'm going to adjust the harp to be appropriate for me.